is that he has somewhat control over where the total package will be. So beginning of March, the physical ship is fixed at 17,500, and he has to close out the paper position to remain neutral. So he fixes his ship at 17,500. At that particular day, March was trading at 17,000, slightly below. So he makes $9,000 profit on the paper position. And as you can see, which is very, very typical in this market, the FFA doesn't completely offset everything, but at least your net freight costs are $8,500 as opposed to $8,000 that you actually hedged yourself for back in January. And an example with a loss, physical ship is fixed at $9,000. Paper was trading a little bit higher because you have the whole Q2, not just the April position. That particular day, Q2 trades at $11,000. The loss from the paper position is $1,500. Since you fixed your ship at 9, it should be actually 10,500 there, not 11,500. But the concept is you can easily lock in freight costs by hedging using FFAs, hence mitigate your risk of adverse freight movements. And again, you're confronting with these same questions all the time. Should the charterer have bought the April contract, or just more on the Q2? Should he even bought the Cal 10 if he has this program on a running basis? That's, things that needs to be looked into. It's a bit hard to go through everything in a matter of half an hour here today. And of course, what is the volume? What's the underlying exposure? You have to have a match. Freight options. FFAs are trading a lot. Options are a very, very quick growing market. I believe last year it was trading, the notional value was around $20–25 billion on the option side. Again, it's a bit hard to measure because banks are doing quite a bit privately with clients, so it's hard sometimes to find the exact volumes, but it's a very, very quick growing market. An option, I'm sure that most of you know what an option is, but at least it gives then the buyer of an option insurance against freight rate moving above a certain level, and if it does, you will get paid for all levels above. The buyer of a put option, on the other hand, buys protection for rates going below a certain level. Typically, a charterer will be the call buyer and the owner will be the put buyer. So an option, how does it work? Well, on the vertical axis, you have your profit and loss just from the FFA position, and on the horizontal axis, you have the physical spot market. So what you'll see here is that you have to pay a premium, but when you reach your strike price where it actually matters, it gives you a payoff. Put option, on the other hand, the hockey stick kind of turned around, where when freight, the physical market, reaches a certain level, below that you'll get paid. Seller is just the other way around, limited upside, unlimited downside for the seller. And the put option also. So, for instance, a seller of a put option, he is either one who is he's already long a put option position, or someone that strongly believes the market will come up. So if you go back to the slide, that's the slide from a little bit, for a couple of slides back. What if the market actually went something like that? If you are the CNF buyer and you sold your FFA because you thought freight were too high, but you were wrong, you would have forgone your profit from an inexpensive COA, since these benefits would have been offset against the loss on this FFA position. However, if you did this with an option instead, you could only lose the premium paid for the option. And by entering to some some options in such a volatile market, the charterer or the importer could definitely get a competitive edge by being hedged if the freight rates drops or increases, and also the fact that they would have limited loss. So just to compare the two, if you hedge using FFA and if you hedge using option, this is a typical charterer's payout. If the physical spot market is 0, you will pay 0 for the freight. If it is $40,000, you will have to pay $40,000, hence the minus 40, and 20, 20, so forth. That's your physical exposure. Then, if you decide to buy Panamax Q2 at, say, $12,500, you take the opposite exposure as I've been talking about earlier, and the net effect is the red dotted line. You lock in your freight cost at $12,500, regardless of where the market is. If it is $40,000, you don't need to pay $40,000 on your physical freight anymore, because, or yes, you will have to pay $40,000 to fix your ship, but at the same time you have quite a massive profit on your FFA position. The two nets each other out, so the net effect is $12,500.